Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 78 of A Double and Dice. And today we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk, actually, no. We're going to talk about teams that we've built for our local get together.
Yes, our local
Dice Masters.
Dice
locally.
Masters at our friendly local game store.
Right, because I had said in a couple of podcasts before or something that I don't get to play much of the cards.
That's right.
So Jocelyn put me and herself on a one set. You have to make a team. So it was DPS, Dark Phoenix Saga.
Mm-hmm.
And we built teams based on that set. And I pretty much almost picked mostly cards that I've never used.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that yet.
No, because we're going to do the ice bag first.
No, because we're going to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year.
Oh, right.
It is Year of the Rabbit.
Yes, I'm not a rabbit.
You are not a rabbit? No. What are you?
I'm a doggy.
Oh, I'm a monkey.
So is my son.
Yeah. So yeah.
I wish it was a dragon. The dragon looks cool.
Yeah, I don't know the significance of them, and I do have something up here. Oh, here we go. Here are the personality traits.
Oh.
Are you ready? Okay. Okay, Kim, you said you were what? A dog?
A dog.
You are lovely, honest, and prudent.
What does prudent mean again?
Prudent, how do we define prudent? It would be like no, there's a word for it. It's like logical, kind of, sort of. Let me see. Define prudent. Prudent is acting with or showing care and thought for the future.
Sure.
You have wisdom, or you're judicious. Another word for prudent would be judicious, sage, sane, sapient, sensible, and wise. Oh, I don't know, Kim. I think we're stretching it now.
I don't know. I think the first two is fine, so I'm going to go with 80% of that is right.
Okay. So Kim, you're a dog.
Okay, yes.
So I am Year of the Monkey, and apparently so is your son, Noah. And monkeys are sharp, smart, and curious. I 100% identify with most of that.
Well, my son's only 6, so he's they're pretty curious at that age.
Yeah, the curious part is the part where I think that I've maybe stepped a little bit back in my agedness, in my wisdom, in my old age years. I probably should try and show more curiosity. I should be a little bit more curious about stuff. Maybe I am. I don't know. Is it conceited to say that I think that I'm smart? I think I'm smart. I'm not trying to be conceited about it, though.
You're not trying to do.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but you know, I do feel like I'm relatively smart in some ways, and sharp. I think I'm pretty sharp. So yeah. So yeah. What
I think smart and sharp might become when you're like for Noah, he's 6, so he has some time to grow into those.
He's smart though. He's a smart kid.
Yeah. But
it's definitely a smart kid. Yeah, but yes, it is the Year of the Rabbit.
What year is the rabbit? What year is
rabbits are starting in 1927 according to this calendar. 27, 39, 51, 63, 75, 87, 99, 2011, and 2023. Rabbits are quiet, elegant, kind, and responsible.
That sounds more like me. I should be a rabbit.
You're not a rabbit.
I know, I'm a dog.
No, you're a dog.
I know. I wonder if anybody out there is a rabbit. You gotta let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you're a rabbit. Let us know what your Lunar New Year sign is, your Chinese zodiac sign or your lunar zodiac sign. It says Chinese zodiac on this website I'm looking at. This is mdis.edu.sg /blog/lunar-new-year /
That doesn't really sound like, sketch at all.
I mean, it came up in the Google search and it wasn't the first result. So at that point, I'm like, okay, let's drop that into the show notes. And so that's the case. So let us know, are you a rabbit? And do you identify with the quiet, elegant, kind, and responsible personality traits? So that is the question. That is the question of the podcast. And thanks for listening. No.
So anyway, when did we say this was happening? The 22nd of January, right?
Yeah. So the Lunar New Year was yesterday, if you're listening to this on the day that the podcast released. So this podcast is coming out on January 23rd, and the Lunar New Year was January 22nd. So there you go. So Happy New Year. Like we said last episode, we decided that the whole month of January was fair game because of the Lunar New Year. So nice. Happy Lunar New Year, Kim.
Happy Lunar New Year. Now we need to know all the other New Years.
Yeah, we didn't have a chance to research all of that, and I'm not doing it right now. No.
No.
But yeah, so rabbit.
Cool.
You're the rabbit. So if you're a rabbit, high fives, congrats on your year. This year hasn't come around since 2011. There's 12 zodiac signs, so I think they just happen in a 12-year cycle.
Yeah, every 12 years.
For some reason, when I was younger, I could have swore that someone told me that monkeys were rarer in the Chinese zodiac, but this just says it's a continuous cycle of 12 years, each represented by an animal. So every 12 years, there's monkeys out there. So.
Yep. I have the sniffles. Well, so if you didn't know, folks, I was just a little under the weather this week, so it's the same week that we're recording. So
your little guy brought something home, eh?
Yeah, I swear, it was like 2 weeks holiday break, nothing, absolutely nothing. So you know where it comes from.
It comes from school.
4 days into coming back to school, 4. And you already had to take a day off school.
Well, clearly, Kim, this means that you need to homeschool Noah for now until the end of time.
Yeah, right.
I know.
Thank you.
Virtual school didn't go so well during COVID.
No. I can't. No. You know what? Props to people who do homeschool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot.
I can't. It is, and I can't do it. And that would be one kid, and I couldn't do it. So.
Yeah, props to teachers. So, regardless of what grade you teach, props to you because it's a lot to wrangle. Like I used to teach at college, and I make it sound like I was a teacher. I taught for 2 semesters. I was given the option to teach for more semesters, but I was promoted at work and I couldn't do it anymore because the responsibilities were more and I didn't have flexibility with my time. So anyway, but I was teaching college students, most of whom who were genuinely interested in the program because I'm an optician, and in opticianry, you don't just kind of go into that on a whim. It's not like you're taking, human resources or business management. And if you're into those things, great. But there's a lot of people, myself included, before I went into opticianry, that just applied to those programs because that's what you did. Like I just applied for a business program because I was like, well, I guess business skills are good and will help me at some point. Fortunately, I didn't waste a year's college on that because that's not what I wanted. Although now I do work in corporate, so maybe I should have. Anyway, sidebar. Even when you're teaching people who want to be there, it can be challenging. And in school, particularly in like elementary school and high school and things like that, a lot of kids don't want to be there.
No.
And a lot of kids that are around their friends are just like holy terrors, Yeah. Like my boss was telling us today that his daughter, who is 9, they just separated her from her like 3 friends at school and moved them all around because the teacher was like, this is enough. We can't deal with this anymore.
Wow, really? They got broken up?
They got broken up.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm sure recess is still a very popular hotspot, but in the classroom, their desks have all been moved, separated, or I don't know if they're still at desks or if they're at like communal tables. I don't even know how it works anymore. I don't have kids. I have no idea.
Well, right now in Noah, he's only grade 1. It's shared table.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming as you go up, it's individual like desks.
I feel like school has changed so much since you and I were in school, Kim, that I wouldn't
Maybe.
put it past anything. I wouldn't put it past like a big communal table for everyone to work at and everyone's got a laptop or a tablet. So
I'll have to when I go volunteer. I volunteer at the school. So next time I go, and I'm gonna go upstairs because that's where the big kids are.
yeah,
I'm gonna go sneak in one of the rooms and just look in it.
the
See
big
how they're
kids in
arranged.
quotation marks, the
Yeah,
ones
because
that
it's
are
like
older than first grade.
kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 are downstairs, and everybody else is upstairs. And I think they have some. I think grade 2 is just 3s, maybe 4s are in the portables.
So this is weird. I just thought about this when you said that. I wonder if the younger kids are on the main floor because like they're not as coordinated yet and they're more likely to fall down the stairs.
Probably.
I don't know why that just
Plus, you
came
know,
into my head.
they cage the kindergartens, right? So they can't cage them upstairs.
They cage them.
They do.
They're caged.
There's fences around the kindergarten
Well,
area.
yeah, you can't let the kindergarten kids get away.
No. So they're caged. It's like, okay. All right. Okay, story time. Okay. So when Noah was in kindergarten, right? I swear, like, okay, I'm not being mean to parents. I'm a parent, okay? But there's some parents that are like, okay, so they're like crowd up on the fence, right? Like around the fence, like when you're picking up
Okay.
your kid, right? You're crowding
Yep.
around the fence and you're blocking the area the kids come out, and all the kids are coming out. And I swear, and I used to be like 10 feet back waiting for Noah.
Yeah, out of
I'm
the
here,
crowd.
and then you come out, right? But it's like
Social distancing, man.
it's either like it was like they're like at a zoo. You know what I mean? Like the kids are
Mhm.
in the cage because they're the animals in the zoo, and then all these parents are like, oh my god, like they're so cute, and what did you do? And they're trying to talk to the teacher, and I'm just like, move so my kid could pass and come towards me. Like it was like paparazzi. I was just like, why do you have to hover over the fence? Like, sorry.
Just in general, anybody who blocks an entrance or an exit or a hallway to have their own conversation with no sense of anyone around them, like just you're in my bad books.
Like
So.
it was just like I felt it was so rude. Like okay, my kid's trying to like pass you. Move from the front of the
And
area.
seriously, Kim, like if they don't get out of the way, how are you going to teach these children how to play Dice Masters?
I don't know.
Like they're caged, right? You just said they
I-
were caged in, so they're they're a captive audience. So
Yeah,
kids
I
like
don't
to roll
know.
dice, you know?
I give it to kindergarten teachers. I don't know how they handle 4 or 5-year-olds, some 6-year-olds, because I couldn't do that age.
No.
Couldn't do it. I couldn't.
No,
I still
but-
talk to some of those kindergarten teachers, and they pass by, and I could see them like they're going for walks or whatever, and it's like the teacher's like, "We needed to get out today." Like he tells me this, and I'm like, "One of those days." Like, so it's like I don't know how they do it.
It's a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, there is that whole like you're better for other people than your own parents thing. Like generally kids are on better behavior when they're around other people than their own parents because
It's true.
their parents love
Different
them no matter
authority.
what.
Different authority. Yeah.
And their
my
parents
kid's,
love them
my
no matter
kid's,
what.
like great in school, and he comes home and it's like a totally different person. I'm like, how come you're not like this at home?
Because at school he's like
Yes.
showing off for the teacher.
Yeah, they're like in best behavior. So
Yeah. So anyway. So yeah, I think you should work on that captive audience of those kindergartners and start getting them on the Dice Masters. Senior
Right.
kindergarten only though, because junior kindergarten might try and eat the dice like candy.
They might think it's I won't put it past SKs, man. They might think it too. You know, some of them, I don't know. They might think it's candy. You're right.
Yeah, we just gotta be cautious. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
Gotta be careful. So on that note, Kim, should we should we maybe spend some time talking about Dice Masters?
We just did about kindergarten.
That's right. We're gonna teach the kindergarten kids how to play Dice Masters. I mean, with that said, it's not that far off, right? Because at the local store, this is how I'm going to tie it back in. Ready? This is a really good segue. At the local store, we have Nathan, right?
Mhm. And
So there's Nathan and Nathan's
8?
dad.
he's 8, right?
He just turned 8 or 9.
8.
Now I'm questioning myself.
No, he's 8.
I know how old he is because Will told me, because when we were at the store last week, not this past week, but last week, it was his birthday. So now I am checking, but I have to scroll back through the Facebook, through the Messenger, through the conversation about Marvel Snap.
I'm pretty sure he was 8, because we're always like, he's a big guy for 7. And Noah's 6, remember? And they were like, I think he's 8.
Yes, he just turned 8. You are correct. You remember correctly. I had to scroll back through all the Marvel Snap conversation and conversation about HeroClix. Because I messaged the friendly local game store about a lot of things that are not about the friendly local game store. So anyway, so Nathan is 8, and he learned how to play Dice Masters when he was 7, which is not that far off, right?
No.
From kindergarten,
so
like a little bit, a couple years.
I'm a year behind with Noah then.
You are. Noah should be learning how to play Dice Masters. I am disappointed.
He has no interest. Not like he sees me playing and comes over and be like, Mom, I want to.
Okay, so what you need, Kim, is you need a custom Super Mario Dice Masters set, right?
Right. Oh my gosh. If they had a Dice Masters Super Mario set, I'm pretty sure he would.
Has anyone ever done that? I know people do custom sets sometimes. I know there's a Firefly set and there's some other sets. So. If you've made a Super Mario themed Dice Masters set, please let us know. Because we are very interested in that.
And I haven't seen it, but who knows?
That doesn't. Could be. I mean, there's lots of things that I haven't seen too. So who knows?
I wish if they could get a license for that. Oh my gosh,
it'd be pretty cool. I mean, he likes superheroes and stuff too, right? Didn't we have that whole conversation a couple episodes ago about why was it the Flash?
Well, he kept saying that the Flash was in Marvel, but I kept saying no, it's DC, and we had to have this conversation between Marvel and DC, and then
yeah. So anyway, so he likes superheroes too. Yeah. So, but maybe Mario if we got the Super Mario, because I know he likes his Mario Lego thing.
Yes, his Lego Mario. I even told my husband, I'm like, if they did My Little Pony, I would be happy. Something cool. Totally different. You know what I mean? A completely animated, different license.
I feel like My Little Pony, there's a fan set of that somewhere.
Maybe someone made it.
I think so. Anyway.
I think someone did Dragon Ball too.
So yes. So you need to get Noah on the Dice Masters train.
Yeah.
And I still have a few years before my nephew Nathan, who is not Nathan who plays at the friendly local game store, because that is Nick's son. But my nephew Nathan, who lives on the east side of Toronto, he's only 3.5. So I've got a little bit of time before I have to start teaching him how to play Dice Masters.
Yep. He might beat Noah.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
So yeah. So, Kim, before we jump into this week's Dice Masters content, let's dice bag it?
Well, dice bagging it. Yeah. Let's dice bag it.
So, yes, episode 77 was all about X-23, Laura Kinney, right?
Yep.
Laura Kinney, not Laura Linney, which we did last time. I don't need to repeat that. So we did get some feedback on X-23. I'm going to start with feedback that we got through Facebook Messenger from our friend Chris over at the Ministry of Dice. And he said, are you ready, Kim?
Sure, if I could time this properly. Go.
Okay. Oh,
beep.
I just listened. You stopped before it got worse for Laura. There's some nasty
beep
between leaving Weapon X and finding Wolverine. So do with that as what you will. So we had a bit of a conversation back and forth, and we were talking about how it's not just female characters in Dice Masters that have messed up origin stories. I was going to use a different word there. Then I remembered our podcast is not rated for that. But I was like, I said to him in the conversation, I was like, do male characters and maybe people who don't identify as a gender have as many messed up origin stories? And he did give me a bunch of examples, but I think this sentence here summarizes why this is challenging every time we do a female character in Dice Master series, which is the key thing about female characters is the sexualization of the terrible.
Beep.
Right? So, and I'm like, that's it. That's exactly what it is when you put your finger on the button. It's the sexualization of that in comic books, media, etc. And that's the challenge. There's always something, right? So so that was from Chris over at the Ministry of Dice, and we do appreciate that. I did say to him, I do know that it gets worse for her after she leaves Weapon X, but we can only do so much of the podcast. There's only so much bad stuff we can share at a time. So yeah, and then we heard from a Jackalope Spam, aka Nick, on the Discord, and he sent messages in a couple of different places. So the first one was through the dmNorthTV Discord channel in the Double and Dice podcast channel, where we have a conversation going. And by conversation, we typically reply, but we didn't this time, so I'm sorry, Nick. He says, avoiding some of the regrettable backstory. X-23 is rather big in the current X-Men runs. She's taken on the mantle of Wolverine and is on the official X-Men team roster. There's an official X-Men team roster? Do they have, like, people they sub in and out? Or is there, like, picks, like in baseball?
Draft, you mean?
Exactly. There was a vote at the Hellfire Gala, so that's pretty cool. She's not the only clone of Wolverine. There's also Gabby Kinney, aka Honey Badger or Scout, and I am familiar with Honey Badger, Kim, because of HeroClix.
Okay.
There's more clones, but I haven't read anything with them. It looks like all new Wolverine from 2015 to 2018 gets into the clones and such. So if you're interested in that, thanks to Nick for that recommendation. You can read through some of the X-23 backstory and that of the all new Wolverine, which is Laura Kinney, and the other clones that I guess maybe she wasn't successful in destroying when she left the Weapon X facility. So that was in the Double and Dice podcast channel. And then we also heard from our man Jordo. And Jordo shared with us that the Deadpool Super Rare X-23 has always been a personal favorite of his. He's used her a few times back in the good old days. The combo that he had the most fun with pairing her with Super Rare Jocasta from Age of Ultron and Common Star Labs from Green Arrow and The Flash. Have you got this stuff keyed up, Kim?
I'm on it.
You're the best. When X-23 attacks, use Star Labs to direct her attack to Jocasta, who then boomerangs the damage to your opponent. Mix in a common spider, that's SP//DR, from TMT, which is the Mighty Thor, to double that damage. He says lots of fun. So can we go over those cards, Kim? Let's start with refresher on the X-23.
Yep. So the Super Rare X-23 Blades of Rage. When X-23 attacks, roll all dice in all players' prep areas. For each energy rolled, X-23 gets +2A. Count energy symbols, not faces that show energy. Return all rolled dice to their respective prep areas. Now, Jocasta, it was the Super Rare, right?
Super Rare Jocasta, yeah.
Patterned after Janet. The first time each turn. Wait, that doesn't make sense. But okay.
It was Age of Ultron thing.
First time each turn, Jocasta would be dealt damage. Instead, deal that damage to your opponent.
Okay, and then Star Labs.
Star Labs. Which one was this one? The common one. Okay. You actually buy Star Labs? Wow. Okay. The common one. Target, bolt, or shield character die you control deals damage equal to its A to another target character die.
Oh, okay. Which is exactly what Matt said, but it helps me to have the text of the cards. So you've got the Deadpool X-23 attacking. You're rolling the dice to give her a +2 to her attack. And then in the global window, global and action die window, you use the Star Labs action to redirect her attack to Jocasta because it says to target die. It doesn't say to target opposing die, right?
Right, yep.
And then the opponent takes the damage directly instead of the die. That is a convoluted combo, and I like it. Okay, let's go to Common Spider.
Oh, right. I forgot to look him up. Okay, yep. SP. Common. While SP//DR is active, Where's SVDR? Double all damage dealt to villain character dice.
Okay, and I guess Jocost is a villain.
Oh, I did not look. I'm sure.
Because you're doubling the damage.
Spell her name. Yes.
Okay.
She's the octopus one.
So we have a super rare, and 2 commons. So it's a 4-card combo, and you actually have to buy Star Labs, not just for the global.
Correct.
Which was a sidekick fielding and prepping global, right? It was. Was Star Labs the Bolt Fist?
Yes.
Wow, I can't believe her. Okay, I got one of them right.
Wait.
Bolt Shield. Bolt Shield. Okay, so I was halfway there.
50-50. Yeah.
50% of the time, I'm right every time. So yeah, so thank you, Nick. That's a really great combo. I do not know that I would have put that together. No, that's right, Matt. It did feel like a Nick combo though, didn't it? If it was a Nick combo, we'd probably need 2 more cards to make that happen. Nick, how many more cards do we need to make that even better? I'm sure Nick can find a different way to do that. So, all right. So then I got some Discord direct message from Nick. And this one was labeled podcast, so I guess he's specifying what's for the podcast now and what's not for the podcast, which I appreciate. So Nick said that he's a big fan of the X-23 Blades of Rage from Deadpool, which is the same one that Matt likes, right, Jordo? Yeah. She's perfect for an Alpha Strike team where she can deal 20 plus damage at once. So maybe he already has it figured out here. Maybe it's more. Okay, maybe there's no challenge at all. Let's read it. My favorite, and it works for Ladies' Night, is to add Daisy Johnson and Seething Corruption. Kim?
Which Daisy Johnson is that? He didn't say. Okay, so he's making us figure this out.
Using Daisy's ability will KO all opposing dice when you declare attackers when Seething Corruption is active. So is this the one where you pay a shield to deal damage?
When Daisy Johnson attacks, you may pay up to 3 shields. For each shield you pay, Daisy Johnson deals 1 damage to all other character dice.
Right. So if you play your Seething Corruption, you attack with Daisy Johnson, you pay a shield when she attacks, everything takes 1 damage, then your Seething Corruption will KO everything. He says, then you can set up a turn where you attack with both Daisy and X-23. Using Daisy's ability will KO all opposing dice when you declare attackers, because Seething Corruption is active. All blockers are gone, but all of their field is also in the prep area to roll for X-23.
Oh, yeah.
You might even KO some of your own dice, which is all the better because of more dice for X-23. But just be careful to not also KO X-23.
But
good point.
Seething Corruption is opposing, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, but there's other ways to KO your own stuff and put it in your prep area, right?
True. He just has to hope they roll
all. And what does Daisy say? Does Daisy do it to all dice or all opposing dice?
Daisy is to all other character dice, so it's your own.
Yeah. What were the stats on X-23? I know, I'm making you do a lot of work tonight.
4, 2, 5, 3, 7, 4. So even if you just do 1, she's not going to get KO'd on her low. So
that's right. You got to be careful about that, though.
Yeah.
And he said, he continues, I generally agree with you that abilities that rely on opposing characters' energy types are rather lacking. You can't plan for that typically. I generally avoid anything that requires your opponent to have bought or done something unless I can force it, which I think is a really smart team building plan. At least with X-23 Assassin, the opponent is likely to block anyways or take a big attack, so it could pair well with something to give her Overcrush, but for a 6 cost, you might as well just buy something with Overcrush anyways, because, you know, we have Overcrush on 5 costs with good stats now.
Mm-hmm.
Becky.
4? 4 cost.
Colossus
is not 4 cost, but
we'll come back to that. And then finally, we heard from everyone's fave hero, Donnie on
the YouTube.
He said the Weapon X program was led to help a ton of mutants to get their powers, especially after it turned into the Weapon Plus program, including Typhoid Mary, Luke Cage, Deadpool, and many more. I haven't used many of the X-23s. I have used the Cosmic one. I like spinning her down to level 1 and then buffing her to the moon. I have used the one in Deadpool that gets extra for the prep area. He used Stepford Cuckoo's Uncommon and a few other things to help that.
All right.
Stepford Cuckoos.
Cuckoos.
I like the cuckoos.
Uncommon? Okay.
Yes.
When fielded, each player moves one character die they control to the prep area.
What's her subtitle?
Celeste.
It's just Celeste. Yeah. What's the common?
Mindy. When
that's the one I liked.
Move target character die you control to your prep area.
Yeah, I liked that one. I used that one to great effect. But that's not the point. We want two. We want a die from my side and a die from your side so that we can do that. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that people have come up with to trigger this X-23 super rare from Deadpool. Now I feel like I need to pull out my Deadpool and see if I own this card. So
I said I didn't, right? No, I own the Cosmic X-23.
Yeah, so do I, but I don't know what else I own. I have to take a look. So and then Kit Carpo also commented on the YouTube this time, and he says, I have to say X-23 in a triggered murderous rage, come on, double sixes. Not quite sure I get that reference, but we do appreciate your feedback. So yeah, so that was a very. There's one more. Oh, there is one more. Earlier tonight, the night we were recording, Kim and I were playing Mutant Crawl Classics with Rob, and Rob said that he really liked the first 10 minutes of the podcast last week, and he said it was just really fun to hear us banter and riff off of each other and have a good conversation. So we appreciate that, Rob. Thank you for sharing that with us. Also, thank you for judging our Mutant Crawl Classics game. Because if we didn't have you, then we wouldn't be playing that game, and it's a lot of fun, which is a role-playing game, right, Kim?
Right.
It's an RPG using the Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebook, and this is Mutant Crawl Classics, so it's like a variation, post-apocalyptic, right, Kim?
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. We really like it. So yeah, so that was really great to hear, and we hope that you enjoy all of our banter because we bantered for even longer today.
So, I would probably say on most of our podcasts might be.
At least we don't spend like 20 to 40 minutes of our podcast providing a Marvel Snap update. So
yeah,
because almost every HeroClix podcast I listen to, has like 10 to 20 to 30 minutes of Marvel Snap now. So, I mean, I play Marvel Snap. If you follow our Discord, you know that. I am a snapper. Snap. But
Kim does not.
Kim does not, and that's fine. And we don't need to talk about that on the podcast. So, I think we should talk about some more Dice Masters. Kim, what do you think?
Yeah, let's get to our teams.
All right. So, as Kim mentioned many, many minutes ago, I challenged Kim on a previous episode of this podcast to build a team exclusively in Dark Phoenix because you felt like you hadn't played a lot of the cards and you also felt like it wasn't really a good, well, I don't say it wasn't a good set. It's not your favorite set. You prefer Superman Kryptonite Crisis, right?
Correct.
So I said, all right, let's each build a team exclusively out of Dark Phoenix Saga and play them at the local game store and see how it goes. So let's talk about your team, Kim.
Sure. So I think one card, maybe two. I've played
one card to pull them all.
The one card everybody loves, everybody puts on their team. A Dark Phoenix.
The Dark Phoenix.
Yes. But I actually had not only for the global, but if I had to buy her, I would have bought her because I picked the uncommon one.
Yes.
enemy of the Shiar,
Shiar?
Shiara,
Shiar?
pineapple.
You got it. Pineapple.
Pineapple. Speaking of pineapples, but we're not
Pineapple
going to go
Express.
there.
We already did a lot of tangenting today.
When fielded, KO target pineapple, Shiar, or X-Men character die. When Dark Phoenix attacks, deal 2 damage to your opponent. So
Yes.
she was actually my backup win condition, but also I was using her for her global, obviously, because you pay a bold KO character. Next die you purchase of cost 2 less. Because my main win condition was Colossus, not the rare one. Because I've played with that one. This is the common version, which is a 5 cost. Skilled Painter. He has an Energize, which field one of your character dice for free and spin it to level 3. But when he doesn't energize, he has just plain old Overcrush.
And he's a 5 cost.
And he's a 5 cost, so with Dark Phoenix, that would make it a 3 cost.
Plus the global, so 4, and then you have to KO something.
Yeah, so 4, 4, 6, 5, 8, 7 is stats. So if you can get him to level 3, pretty good.
Aces.
Yes, and you know me, I love Overcrush.
Aces, Charles, aces.
To get him a little bit beefier, if I just happen to roll him on a low level, right? Because I believe in Dark Phoenix there is no spin-up global.
Correct.
I believe they're all in Superman Kryptonite Crisis.
Yeah, because there's absolutely need to have multiple versions of a spin-out global in a single set.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there wasn't any. The only one I can think of is Supergirl, but there is another one. I just can't remember the character.
There's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. So to help kind of build up his I have a few cards that I put on the team. One was Iceman, Mr. Ice Guy, which is the rare version. He has a founder, but he also has an energize ability, which is double target character dies printed A until end of turn. So get Colossus out there, and then hopefully you energize him. It didn't work for me. And then, you get to double.
It worked for me. Spoiler
alert. I couldn't roll him on energize. It was ridiculous. I couldn't do it. I was ready to throw his dice.
Who is going to completely empathize with you about that, Kim?
Who?
Is Chris from the Ministry of Dice, because he says it energizes Bobbins, because anytime he wants to energize a die, it only rolls on a character face.
Right, and when you want to do the opposite, it does the opposite. He has another ability. So if you don't actually energize him and you actually want to keep him active in the field, he gives your sidekick dice plus 1A,
which is cool.
Yeah,
because his stats are good. He's typical Iceman stats, right? 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 6, 1, 4, 6.
So that was to help beef up Mr. Colossus. Also, I put another character on here to help with stats, and that was Professor X, House of X, which is the uncommon version. He is a 5 cost, but again, with the global, I can make him a 3. During your attack step, if Professor X doesn't attack, all of your X-Men character dice gets plus 2A and plus 2D. If any of your X-Men dice were unblocked, move Professor X to your bag. He also has an energize ability, which I don't want, which was move an X-Men die from your use pile to your prep area. Actually, he was okay. He worked out. He didn't energize. He was in the field. So he did.
He was where you wanted him.
Yeah. So he would give all X-Men, including himself. Well, he can't attack. You don't want him to attack. But Colossus is X-Men affiliated. So
this is true.
Give that plus 2. If you had Iceman, also plus 2. So those 2 would be my buffs. My first go-to was obviously Iceman because he is cheaper with the global. But if I can get a Professor X out there too, that's probably better than the Iceman how it went that night. So, so those were my buffs to help Colossus. So 4 more spots. Just to hinder my opponent.
So annoying.
I didn't buy it though. I put on Jean Grey.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. Did I? No, I didn't. I didn't buy it against. I did not buy it. No, I didn't.
You bought it against me. I had to pay extra to use globals.
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. Was it because my Colossus wasn't rolling?
I don't remember.
Or I ended up buying Dark Phoenix.
It might have been just because I had so many globals.
Maybe. So this is Xavier's dream. She's also a X-Men affiliated. So and she also has founder. So when Jean Grey and one of your psychic dice are active, so you have to make sure you have a psychic for this to work. Your opponents must pay one extra to use a global ability. Not bad. I mean, in a global
Heavy meta.
world, yeah, she's pretty. I would say she's not used. You don't see her that
No.
much. You don't really see her that much.
I mean, at the meta level, I think games are just moving too fast.
Yeah, because you have to buy her, right? So
Yeah. You have to buy her,
And
you got to roll her, you got to feel her,
gotta
she's
get
got to
her
go
out
through your
there.
bag. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how are we playing this game? Why isn't it over yet? No, I'm
and
just kidding.
and she's costly. She's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
fielding
she's
costs,
expensive.
So
Yeah, I remember you cringing when you had to field her on level 3.
yeah,
And I was also
Reno.
cringing because I was like, how am I going to get that out of the field?
Yeah, and then it's like, again, this set doesn't have a helping with your fielding cost like Robin from Superman Kryptonite Crisis. So
And another card. There's another one that does it too.
Yep. Now for some prepping to, go through my bag a little quicker, I put Beast. He's the combat ready rare version who also has founder. When Beast attacks, prep a die from your bag. The next Beast die you purchase each game costs 1 extra, which I forgot to do.
Yeah. Cheater.
I didn't pay 3 costs for one of my games. And another prepping was Lilandra.
Yes.
Common, just the one with the global on it. Pay
Just
a shield
for the global.
once per turn. If you purchase a character die this turn, you may draw a die from your bag and add it to your prep area.
Yeah, and you had some cheap characters, so that's
Yeah.
And so that it has to be a character die. It can't be a action.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Purchase character die. So then
but
my
Beast and Deathbird are both 2 costs, so it's very easy to do.
Yeah, my last one was Deathbird, 2 cost, Deadly, which is a great 2 cost.
Mm-hmm.
If you can be a blocker and KO things you don't like. So that was a team. And for basic actions, because I had 1, 2, 3 founders on the team, which most likely would be out, I put Mutant Research Program on there. So if you have at least 2 active founder character dice, draw and roll 3 dice. Otherwise, draw and roll a die. And that was a 2 cost, so not too bad.
Yeah, that's great because, I mean, unless you're specifically playing in set, it's probably unlikely your opponent is playing founder. So that basic action is all for you and not for them.
Yeah. But it would have probably helped you. I can't. Well, we'll get to your team if you had founder. Which actually I think I bought that. It worked. Drawing 3. So. And my last one, which I didn't know what to put on for basic action, never bought it, but I put it on anyways, was Rally. Move up to 2 psychic dice from your use spell to your field zone. Instead, move 3 psychic dice instead.
Yeah, the double burst faced.
Yep. So
double burst.
Colossus was pretty darn good for that cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like with your Dark Phoenix, and you're essentially getting him for 4, right? So it's a very effective team, and Overcrush is just generally effective. So how did you find the team, Kim? Did you enjoy playing it? I
did, yes.
Yeah.
I can see myself probably picking that Colossus card maybe in another tournament or something if it fits. I'll have to give him a go again. Like, I don't think I would change much on the team, really. I think I maybe used most of the cards. Yeah, I mean, like in competitive play, you won't be buying all of them because the game's gonna go so quick, right? You're gonna try to get to your win condition and then just go. But we had the time, so I was able to buy most of the stuff.
Yeah.
So, but no, I enjoyed it. I think I would try to maybe make this a team one time in a tournament if it comes up, or try it out in Weekly Dice Arena if it comes up, or something like that. So
yeah, and then if you're not restricted to Dark Phoenix as your set like you were for this build challenge,
right?
This very complicated build challenge that I built you was just build out of one set. Super complicated. I can't believe you managed it. I don't know how any of us did. And like if you could build with other sets, then there may be other tools you could put in there. Like for example, you said
Spin
like
up.
the spin up and the fielding global and things like that.
Yeah.
Reduce fielding global. So cool. So how did your games go with this? Do
I
you
can't
recall?
remember. I know we played. Was there's 3 of us. We played 2 games each person. I think
Yes.
you and me went 1-1,
That's right.
and then I think with Marcus I went 1-1.
Yep. That sounds right. I can check the win, but
I think with
can-
and I think with the game with you, I actually did purchase Dark Phoenix.
you did
Because-
purchase Dark Phoenix and you bought Jean Grey in one of the games.
Yeah, and I think I
Even
bought
though
2
you
Colossus.
even
in
though
one
you
game.
insist you didn't.
I guess I did. Because I think
I
remember saying
remember.
to you, you have to pay 2 to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You told me that and I was like, bugger.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So this is the funny thing. When I was putting the information in for this event, I accidentally put it in on the wrong date. So we just like today is January 19th? Oh no, that's right. I completely messed up for some reason. Anyway, it's a long story. Don't worry about it. We're not going to worry about that story. So you and Marcus tied in the games that you played. So you each went 5-1, and I went 2-4.
Okay.
So
I did go 1-1 with you, right?
Yes, you did go 1-1 with me.
It was even Stevens, both of you.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So let's talk about my team. So although this was my build challenge, and I was like, I like Dark Phoenix. I was very challenged because the types of things I would normally build with the Dark Phoenix set are things like Master Mold and Super Rare Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do that because I'd done that before. And obviously it's relatively high competitive, and most of the tools to support that team, like Master Mold, the biggest tool is Villainous Pact, I think, but Villainous Pact is not in that set, right? Villainous Pact is in Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
So I didn't have access to Villainous Pact, but I still could have flooded my field with Sentinels and used Mr. Sinister Rare to field a sidekick and prep a sidekick for 2 generic energy. There was lots of things I could have done. I could have built a very effective Master Mold team and just overwhelmed you with sheer number of Master Mold dice and Sentinel tokens. But that didn't feel like a fun night at the local game store. So, and neither did Jubilee, because I always forget how effective Jubilee can be. So Super Rare Jubilee is when she's active, when you feel a character die, you deal 1 damage to your opponent and 1 damage to target character die. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can really add up, especially if you've got psychic fielding globals and things like that. And I remember I did play Super Rare Jubilee at the local game store back in the end of 2022, and I felt really bad because the other teams were not to that level, and it was just a little bit too powerful. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I've done that before. It's kind of higher level competitive. I don't want to play Master Mold, and I was really kind of blocked. I didn't know what I wanted to play. And I was blocked to the point where I was like, okay, I really got to figure this out because I need to build this team. So the night before the game store, I sent a note to Matt. And I said, do you happen to have a Dark Phoenix only team built? I am uninspired. Yes. I said, I am uninspired. And he said he needed to inspire himself to build around a team build that he needed to do for his local game store, and that he would think of something for DPS after that. And I was like, well, I kind of need to build this in the next 20 minutes because I was trying to build it before I went to bed so that I wouldn't be rushed the next day. And then I didn't build the team.
No, because when did you build it?
When I got to the game store late
Just
that
before
night.
I arrived.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got there a little later than I normally would have. I had a busy day and I was running a little bit late. Our events usually start at 6:30-ish, and I was still building the team at 6:30-ish when Kim walked in. So anyway, I then sent a message to Matt later that next day before lunch and said, I didn't build that team, so if you happen to have put one together, I just packed all of my Dark Phoenix Saga. So he said he did think about it, but he was also uninspired. I think I was just having an uninspired day. So with all of that said, what I ended up building was I built a founder-based team with loyalty counters and living the dream, which is not a super inspired or new build, but it is something I haven't done a ton with. So my team was built around the living the dream basic action card, which is continuous and has an errata. So the continuous stayed, and the parentheses, the text in the parentheses, the brackets at the end does not exist. So it says, if among all character cards on your team you have at least 3 loyalty counters, your character dice get +1A and Overcrush. And then the parentheses say until end of turn, but that's been errated away. So basically you put this living the dream basic action in your field. It's a 4 cost. And as long as it's in your field, your dice get +1 attack and Overcrush. And if you put multiples in your field, they get +1, +1, +1, +1, +1. And then if your opponent brought it, +1, +1, +1. No, I'm just kidding. No one's going to have all that on there. Maximum of +3 probably. And if you're buying 3 living the dreams, your game has gone horribly wrong.
Yes. A 4 cost has gone really bad.
So Moira, Strength of Foresight, is the rare. She's a 3 cost shield, and she's a founder. And she says, while she's active, when you field an X-Men affiliated character die with a purchase cost of 3 or more, put a loyalty counter on Moira. She also has anti-living the dream tech. When fielded, you may send target action die from your opponent's field zone to their use pile. And when this card was spoiled and we did our Moira episode, I remember we talked about this a lot because at the time, Godcatcher was still modern legal. And we were like, this is great Godcatcher anti-tech, which it turned out not to be because it just was not fast enough. But in a small casual game, it could be. Or if Godcatcher was max 1, like it should have been. And so that is not the point. So the point is that I need to field X-Men with a purchase cost of 3 or more while Moira's active to trigger her loyalty counters. Now, loyalty counters, when I've done them before, I haven't done them with Moira. I've done them with like Lilandra and Gladiator and things like that. So this is the first time I tried Moira with this. And Moira needs those loyalty counters, Kim, because her stats are poopy. So she is a 0-0-1, a 0-1-2, and a 1-2-2. So on her level 1, she's a 0 attack. So she needs those loyalty counters. Okay. So then to help her out, I needed, like I said, X-Men characters that had a purchase cost of 3 or more. So I played the Uncommon Beast first class, which has the founder keyword or whatever we call that. And he says, while Beast is active, when a character die with founder attacks, prep a die from your bag. So that was kind of like my prep. He's a 3 cost fist. I did consider, Kim, playing the same one you did where you have to pay 3 for the first one, but then that wouldn't trigger my Moira, which is why I went with the uncommon. Okay. Then to continue with my 3 cost founders, I played Angel, Jean Grey's School, 3 cost shield, founder X-Men. When Angel is active, other character dice with founder get +1 attack. So that's a pretty good synergy, right?
Technically, that would have buffed my characters.
Yep.
I didn't even realize that. Did you?
Any of the ones with founder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jean and Iceman and Beast.
Yep.
Interesting. I just noticed that.
Yeah. So there you go. Things we're learning. So Beast lets me prep. When a character with founder attacks, he has founder. So if he attacks, he gets to prep a die. If Angel attacks, then there's another prepping a die because it's when attacks effects, so that triggers per die. So then we went with Iceman, Mr. Ice Guy, which is the same one Kim played. And again, he's a founder. And he had the Energize, as we talked about, and I could get the Energize to trigger, although most often it triggered when I didn't have any dice in my field.
That's true. That happened too. Yeah.
So that was a problem. But I did get the Energize to trigger. Okay. So then I threw in Cyclops first class. So we've got a bit of a theme here. First class, Jean Grey's School, X-Men, founders. He says a 5 cost bolt. while Cyclops is active, when you field a character die with Founder, deal 2 damage to target character die. So you get him into the field, you field these other Founders, you're getting loyalty counters for Moira, because they're 3 cost or more X-Men, and then you're also dealing 2 damage to target character die, which is potential removal, which is handy, but again, not super easy to get to because these dice are getting kind of expensive. Then I threw on Cable High Stakes, which is the rare. And this is the one that I know the Ministry of Dice was really excited about, and I think other people were excited about when it came out, but no one really did anything with it, which is when Cable attacks, double the printed A of all your other character dice. So, you know why that didn't fire, Kim?
Because it's a 6 cost?
It's a 6 cost bolt. Yeah, that's why. Doubling your printed A on a 6 cost, I mean, at least you're doubling everything else, but by the time you've got to your Cable and you're doing that, you're probably struggling. And the other problem with this team, the other challenge I had with it, is the fact that all of these dice have such low attacks. And because, Kim, you had Colossus with his big beefy bum, right? You had Iceman who wouldn't energize for you. Yeah. And instead rolled on his character face, which, as I just mentioned a minute ago, has a 6/6 on his level 2 and a level 3 for defense. So my little 4 attack X-Men with a +1 making them a 5 attack Overcrush does nothing against a 6 defense. Right? So the teams were not well matched in that way, although this team is very synergistic and it actually kind of worked cool. Okay. And then to round out the last characters on my team, I ran Dark Phoenix. I went with Malevolent, the common, which is my personal favorite, because when she's fielded, you get to KO a character die. If it's an X-Man character die, you deal your opponent 4 damage. So that's also another removal technique. And I'm sorry, it's not a removal technique because, well, yeah, it is, because you're KOing a target die, which is your opponent's. So you just KO it. And if it's an X-Man, they take damage, so it's a pretty good combo. It's a 7 cost, but she costs 1 less to purchase if your opponent has an X-Men character on your team, which when you're playing single set like Dark Phoenix, it's pretty common that your opponent's going to have an X-Men on their team, which is why I picked that one.
But if not, there is a global to help you with this.
There is, which I forgot to put on my team.
You didn't need to in this situation, but
it would have been helpful, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then my last card was Magneto Idealist, which is the common. He's a 6 cost mask. He's a Brotherhood of Mutants, and none of that matters because he's only there for the global, which is pay a mask once per turn. During your turn, if you have no dice in your prep area, you may draw a die and place it in your prep area. His text is actually not bad because it's a loyalty counter text. When one of your mask character dice is KO'd, put a loyalty counter on Magneto's card. However, the problem is there were not any reasonably cost X-Men that were masked that worked with my team. So the only mask on my team was Magneto. And Magneto was not getting KO'd because I never bought him because he's a 6 cost. And KOing him is not going to help my case, right? Even though I have the Dark Phoenix Global to do it, but if I'm going to the level of having to buy Magneto...
Didn't you buy him?
I did buy him, but I don't think I got him out. So
no, I don't remember seeing him
there. And then, so I already mentioned I used Living the Dream because it was all about the loyalty counters and giving things Overcrush on the little tiny weenies. And then the other card I put on was the same as Kim, Mutant Research Program, because I figured I have all these Founders. I'm going to buy all these Founders. It would probably help me with like rampant churn. But in hindsight, I should have put on Radicalization. That's probably the biggest change I would make to this team, is putting Radicalization on instead of Mutant Research Program. And then the other thing I could have changed, which probably would have made more sense, would have been to run a Rare Wolverine for the global instead of Magneto with the Fist, because at least I had Beast, which was a Fist die.
Yeah.
So I'd be more likely to potentially do that. And Magneto's global is less conditional. Or sorry, Wolverine's global is less conditional than Magneto's because just pay a Fist and prep a die. You don't have to worry about your prep area being empty. Right?
Yep.
So
yeah.
So Radicalization is what I should have put on the team, because at some point either you didn't have any X-Men or I didn't have any X-Men, because I can KO my own stuff to deal you 4 damage. But there was times where it was like only sidekicks in the field, or unaffiliated characters or Shi'ar people or whatever. Radicalization has a global on it. It's a 3-cost basic action from the Dark Phoenix set. This is deal 3 damage to target X-Men or Brotherhood character die. On a double burst, you also KO target sidekick character die. But the global is what's important. Pay a shield. Target character die gains X-Men or Brotherhood until end of turn. So you could pay a shield, say, hey, Kim, that sidekick is now an X-Man. And then I field Dark Phoenix, and I say, I'm going to KO that sidekick, and then you take 4 damage.
Yep.
Right? Or whatever. I could make anything an X-Man. I could make a Shi'ar an X-Man. I could make a villain an X-Man. It doesn't matter. I have a global that does it. I have a global that provides an affiliation that then in turn allows me, when I field my Dark Phoenix, just to KO your thing. And you take 4 damage for it. So there were a couple of times where that global would have made a huge difference for me. So.
Yeah. Because it is a timing thing with that one, right?
Yeah,
you want
it's
her to
absolutely.
come out when, you got X-Men there or whatnot.
Yeah, so I think that the team, considering I built it in like 10 minutes right before the night started, I think it went pretty well. I did take you in the first one of the games. I don't know if it's the first game or the second game, but I took you in one of the games. I took Marcus in one of the games, and Marcus was playing a team. He wasn't playing with theme. We didn't tell him. We just like, bring a team, come hang out. So his team had all kinds of mixed stuff on it. And some of it was Dark Phoenix. It was all modern. So, but yeah, so I beat him once, I beat you once, and then I lost the rest of my games. So yeah, so that's that was our Dark Phoenix. So I guess the question we have to our listeners, Kim, is what would you build if you were building Dark Phoenix only?
How would you make our teams better?
Yeah, how would you make our teams better? We're gonna drop the links in the show notes, right, Kim?
Yes.
Yeah, so we built them. So I've already said that I'm going to replace Magneto with Wolverine, and I'm going to replace Mutant Research Program with Radicalization. But if you have other suggestions, let me know. But keeping it in set, Dark Phoenix only, what would you replace with our teams? What would you do with our teams? How do you feel about our team building? And what would you have built if you were coming to this event? And we told you what the theme was, because it wasn't just a little personal theme between me and Kim in our heads.
We do what we say we're going to do.
That's right. And then, Kim, yesterday at the local game store,
I was not there,
pre-prepared my Superman Kryptonite Crisis team.
You built it before?
I did. I built it before the event started.
The day of?
Before the event started. The event was supposed to start at 6:30, and I was done building that team by 6:15.
Before it started. The day of.
The day of, but before the event started. But yeah, I did build that team, and I have that ready to go so that when you come, well, it's not when you come back to the store, it's when I come back to the store, because I think we did this whole thing last time about my ridiculous travel for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But when I get back to the store, we're going to do that Superman Kryptonite Crisis single affiliation. Single set. Not single affiliation. Single set.
I have to use cards I have not used. That'll be an interesting, tough one. That'll be a tough one for me.
It doesn't have to be cards you haven't used, but maybe not some of your favorites.
Because, the whole thing is I haven't used lots of the cards so I want to use stuff that I haven't used. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's that. I enjoyed building with the single set. In theory, it just happened that I was kind of uninspired at the time that I was doing the building. I think if I was building something now, I would have a better go round, and I might give it another shot. I also wouldn't mind taking that team and seeing what I could do to tweak it if it wasn't just single set and if it was modern. Right. But I definitely need some things that have better attacks. Because that 2 attack, I mean, the prepping was working with the founders, the +1 attacks was working. It just, their attacks just could not stand up to what Kim was putting on the table. So.
Yeah, I think you had to double block, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was many double blockings and sidekicks, and I prevented a lot of overcrush damage though.
Yeah, then we clear your board though.
Cleared you too.
Yep.
KO'd your people. There was a lot of rolling of dice, which is what we like this game for. So, All right, Kim. That's I think that's all we've got on this Dark Phoenix build.
Yeah.
So, we want to talk about tournaments?
Yeah, well, tournament that's happening this weekend will be done by the time our podcast hits, which is Breath Weapon Fest 5. But we have weekly dice arenas that happen every Tuesdays at 9 p.m. So come on out on the DM North Twitch account, and yeah, you can go to Discord and see all the themes that are coming up. Other than that,
Dice Social?
Dice Social is happening February 4th.
That's right.
Saturday, February 4th. We're doing a draft. So the online
Nice.
draft, Truby's draft generator. So if you're coming out playing, just have your modern set next to you with your dice, and we'll draft, and you'll build your team, and we'll go.
Awesome. And that's all modern sets, so
That's all
Infinity
modern.
Gauntlet, Dark Phoenix, and Superman?
Yeah.
Okay. Superman.
Make it easy.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's awesome. All right. So on that note, we've mentioned a couple of times we'd love to hear from you because it really helps us, and we like the interaction. Even when we forget to reply to you in Discord or to your emails, we talk about it on the podcast, and we're trying to get better about that. So we'd love it if you could reach out to us and share your thoughts. And if you would like to, like Nick, label your thoughts podcast so that we know that they're okay to print or okay to read. That's great, because we're probably going to read them otherwise unless you tell us not to. So it's really more about don't say on the podcast as opposed to podcast. But again, here's the places you can tell us stuff. You can send us an old-fashioned email at tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at TikTok, right? TikTok too. At TikTok too. I don't know. At dmNorthTV. You can find us on YouTube, like Donnie did, at youtube.com/dmNorthTV. You can find us on Twitch, where we stream live Dice Masters sometimes, but lately mostly board games, at twitch.tv/dmNorthTV. I guess that's not true, because you do Dice Masters every Tuesday.
Right. And we do board game every Saturday. So
it's equal.
It hasn't
amounts.
been much in between. Yeah.
It's equal amounts of board games and Dice Masters.
Yep.
Right, twitch.tv/dmNorthTV. You can join our Discord channel at dmNorthTV, and there'll be a link in the show notes for you to join that if you haven't joined it already. And you can also at us on Discord. I am at JoceStitch, JOCE Stitch, and Kim is at SuperK. So until next time, on a double and dice.